Hello and welcome back, everyone. I have missed you all. It's your girl Cassandra Olivia back with yet another hair color tutorial. So if you guys want to see more of these tutorials, please be sure to drop a like, a comment down below because it's been a while. And also, please be sure to follow me on my platforms linked down below. I had to start a new TikTok page, but I'm trying to get back on there, as well as YouTube and also my Amazon storefront for all products linked. You guys already know the drill, and if you're new here, welcome. So today I have my lovely client Jada. She's been coming to me for several years, her and her mom and her sister. You guys know, once my clients are locked in, we're locked in for life. So I came in to do her first ever hair color. As you guys can see, Jada is a natural level 2. She just took out braids the night before, so what I'm doing here is just going through and making sure to thoroughly detangle her hair. Now I am going in with my favorite brush. You guys know I'm a creature of habit. I'm using my Paul Mitchell 427 brush, and again, that'll be linked on my Amazon storefront. If you guys ever want to know what I'm using, please be sure to check out my Amazon salon supplies list. I have a list curated just for everything that I use in these videos, so that way you guys don't have to ask. It's all in the list, and I update it literally every single day, if not weekly. So I'm going in with my Fremar gloves. I'm using a Fremar backwards bib, Fremar cape, Fremar tray, and I'm also using these cute Fremar foils that my Fremar family sent me. So thank you guys so much. And I'm also going to be using some Redken products as well. I just want to say thank you to my Redken and my Fremar family. They have supported me throughout the years, and I'm just really thankful that a Delaware content creator such as yourself, or myself, what am I talking about? Y'all already know how I get to going. But I'm just so thankful that a Delaware content creator, somebody that's from a small state, can make it and be known amongst these big brands. And again, it's not about who you know, it's pretty much about what you can do and believing in yourself. So never let somebody tell you that you have to have a lot of followers to be an influencer. I started getting PR when I had barely any followers. I also been working with big brands for years and years, and literally it's just the skills. So don't feel like you have to have all the bells and whistles. I still don't even have it all together. But without further ado, I'm gonna finish detangling Jada. Sorry for that little rant, but I missed you guys so freaking much. And y'all already know I'm doing this voiceover one and done. It is the day before Thanksgiving. I actually did Jada's hair about 4 days ago. I'm actually working today as well. I'm booked out literally until 2026. But I wanted to record this hair color because, again, I knew it was her first time getting her hair colored. And she wanted like a caramel brown hair color. So we're just going to go in with that. So what you guys are going to see me doing is a technique that I've actually done several times before, but I will break it down as I'm doing it for anybody that wants to learn how to do color. First things first, you want to make sure that your client is draped. So I always use a color-proof / bleach-proof towel. So that's what you see on her neck. I also keep one on my color tray or somewhere nearby so I can wipe my hands off, especially when you're trying to melt two different colors. Sometimes you will get a little bit of transfer, which is totally fine. Nobody's perfect. But make sure you have a towel so you can either wipe your hands off and not mix the colors, or you can wipe things off if you accidentally get it on your client's hair. So first, to prep her hair, I'm going in with the K18 chelator. This is just going to make sure that everything in her hair is nice and even, so it removes the metals, the hard water, just giving us pretty much a blank canvas. You spray this on the hair, it sits for 4 minutes. Then after that, you'll go in, and then I like to spray the K18 molecular mist as well. The molecular mist just helps to keep the hair's integrity, so however they come in, it's going to keep the elasticity, and it's also going to prevent her curls from getting really limp and weak. It's just going to make sure the hair is nice and healthy. So here I am, I'm going in with my Rusk 5.8 CH, and I'm also going to be going in with a 30 volume, and I'm going to be foiling her entire head. So I'm using my Fremar, the color scale, and I'm just going ahead and measuring everything. Now, when you hit the scale, if you have the bowl on top, you hit the tare button, it'll take away the weight from the bowl so that we have the true weight of the products. So you'll just see me right here mixing everything. It's really self-explanatory. Again, I'm going in with the 5.8 CH, and I'm also just going in with the 30 volume. Now, once you put that inside of foils, it's going to bump it up to a 40. And because she's a level 2, naturally, it's going to take us up to about a level 5, which is perfect. So literally trying to take her to a level 5.8 CH, even a 6 if possible. And then I'm also going to mix my lightener, which is the Schwarzkopf Blondie. Now, you guys see me dumping this in here because unfortunately they got rid of the scoop, which I'm so irritated about. I guess they're trying to be environmentally friendly, but I'm like, you guys have this big ass container, why not just throw the scoop in there? Like, the container takes up more plastic than a scoop, but who am I? So anyway, I'm going in with the 7 volume because I want to take her hair low and slow. Again, this is her first time having her hair color, so my goal is to take everything low and slow, and again, it's going to be in foils, so we don't want to blow the cuticle out by starting with like a 10, 20, 30, 40. The higher you go up in volume, the faster the lift. and I want to ensure that I have enough time to get everything placed in there. And of course, you guys already know I'm using Olaplex. Unfortunately, I didn't get that part on camera, but I literally use K18 and Olaplex together every single hair color service. You guys should know this by now. And if not, welcome to my channel. So I'm just mixing everything. Now, for this part, what I will say, I've been doing hair color for several years, so I don't recommend doing this. So you see how I had the black brush? That was for a reason. Typically, when I'm doing my darker hair color, so the 5.8 CH, I will use a black brush. And then for the lightener, I will use the white brush just so I don't get it confused. But y'all know, I know what the hell I'm doing. So what I decided to do was use 2 white brushes that look exactly the same. And what you're going to have to do if you decide to do this method is to make sure you know exactly what color you're putting on, because I will say most times when I mix colors, I'll use a black tip brush or a black bristle brush for my darker color and a white bristle brush for the lighter color. But I unfortunately had that small black brush and I didn't want to take super long. As you guys can see, Jada's hair is super thick. So I'm like, let me just go in with my power painters. Even though they're the same color, I could not figure out where my black one was. So I'm using 2 of the same exact brushes and I'm using the same exact foils throughout. So I really have to lock in and make sure I know exactly where the dark colors are going and the lightener's going, because if not, it will look a fucking mess, okay? So you don't want to mess up your colors and have everything run. So I'm literally locked in. My first foil that you guys see me doing here is the 5.8 CH. And again, it's going to look like I'm doing the same technique all throughout. I will mention when I'm using the lightener versus when I'm using the color. So when I say color, just know this is the 5.8 CH. When I say lightener, just know I'm talking about the bleach, okay? So I'm just going to do the same thing on each side. And as I'm working the scalp, typically I like to do sections and I like to work the back right and the back left. But you're going to see me simultaneously work left and right at the same time because I want to make sure this color comes out even. I don't want to work one side and then work the other side and forget what I did. So literally, I'm mimicking the same thing on the right and the left side at the same time. So I'll do right side with the color, left side with the color, then right side with the lightener or the bleach, left side with the bleach, and then so on and so forth. And I'm just going to go back and forth between my color and my lightener throughout the foils. Again, if it's easier for you, if you're a new colorist, for example, I recommend using a black bristle brush or just a different color brush for your darker foils and your darker color if you're going to do 2 different colors at the same time or 2 different methods. However, I'm using pretty much the same everything, same foil, same brush. But if I was a new stylist, I repeat, if I was a new stylist or somebody that forgets often, or, you know, I might lose track of what I'm doing, I would definitely use either a black brush for the color or a black bristle brush, let me say, for the color, and then a white bristle brush for the lightener. And then I will also use 2 different color bowls. And then to make sure I'm extra safe, I would even go in with 2 different foils. So lightener, let's say I'm using blue foils, and let's say the color I'm using these foils. I would make sure to kind of switch it out. But again, I'm just going in because I've been doing this for so long. I'm not switching anything up. So I'm using the same foils throughout and 2 of the same exact brushes throughout. So I don't want to confuse you guys with that. I just wanted to mention it now so that way you guys aren't like, hey, why does it look like she's doing the same thing all over? So with these second foils, I'm going in, I'm using my lightener. And you want to make sure that whenever you use lightener in a foil, you give it time to swell, meaning that you start it a little bit lower than where you want it to go, because it is going to expand once it's inside the foils. The foils help to heat up the product, which is going to help to make it expand. What I mean by that is don't get too close to the roots, because if you get super close to the roots, it's going to expand and then it might cover the whole entire root, and then you have possibility of it bleeding into your color. So you don't want to have bleed marks going from the lightener into the color, because then you'll have to go in and color correct the roots or use like a toner or a root shadow. It'll just save you a step if you just take your time and make sure that you give yourself some room for it to swell, so that way you're not trying to go in and blend any bleed marks. Because one thing I will say, in my beginning of doing hair, I used to pack the color on, go to take the foils out, and then you would have like little dots of bleach everywhere or dots of color, and then you have to go in and bleach the color out or cover the bleach spots with color. It just saves so much of a headache if you take your time. And I will say this application took me about an hour and 10 minutes to do the whole entire head. It wasn't really bad, but I just made sure to really lock in. And then what you guys see me doing as well, I'm weaving my foils. So it's going to seem confusing. The very first foils, I did all of the color. The second foils, I went in and weaved, and then I did my lightener. And now in between those weaves, I'm adding color, if that makes sense. So this one is color. The one that's pinned at the top with the hair clip is lightener, and then the one underneath is color as well. And again, I'm going to do the same thing on both sides. I want you guys just to watch and enjoy. And again, this right here is color as well. And then I'll do the same thing on the left side, and then I'll go back in with the lightener. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm so sorry it took a long hiatus. Your girl has started a new job. I'm addicted to working. I realize that's the problem. I did retire from doing hair, but I'm back. I literally found a hair salon that's 2 minutes from my house, so I could not resist. My clients were asking me to come back, so I've been working my full-time job and also doing hair in the evenings and then doing hair on the weekends. I've literally haven't had a day off probably in like a month and a half, and I'm literally working pretty much every day until December 31st. So minus Christmas and tomorrow, which is Thanksgiving, your girl is booked, and I'm tired, but I cannot complain because my clients are ride or die. They travel. I'm no longer driving 45 minutes. Like I said, my new salon that I'm working at is literally 2 minutes from my house. So a win is a win, and I felt like everything just fell into place. So if you guys can please do me a favor, if you like these educational videos, be sure to give me a like, give me a comment, a follow, and make sure to follow me, like I said, on my TikTok, my Instagram. I'm constantly posting things, my Amazon storefront. Your girl's trying to get to the bag. And yeah, let's just have fun doing it. Another thing I want to mention while I'm thinking about it, this comb that I'm using is the Framar. What is this? The Framar, I forget what it's called, but it's basically a comb that you can use to foil the hair. I don't use the comb part like you're supposed to, because my natural hair clients with those tiny little parts of the comb, what am I trying to say? Basically how small and narrow the comb is. If I try to use it and section her hair using the comb in, it would just tangle up because her hair is thick and it's curly. So it's more for like fine hair or like not African American texture hair, Afro texture hair. But I do like this comb because the rat tail part of the comb is extra long, and I like to use that to put my foils in. So in case you're like, why are you weaving it and not just using the end part of the comb? That's why. I don't want the hair to get tangled and I have to separate it still. It just takes a little bit more time when you're doing it on thicker hair. So I just prefer to use the end part of the comb, the tail end, just because I like the way that it fits all the way through the foil, and it makes it easier for me to apply the foil when I'm doing the color. So again, this foil right here is lightener. I weave that, and I'm going ahead and just closing this up. You'll only see me use the comb end just to close up my foils, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on both sides. Now I'm pinning up the lightened foil, and now I'm just going in, and then this foil will be color, and I'm gonna do this all throughout. Sorry for the rant. I know I talk really fast, but I'm just trying to make sure I get everything out. I'll throw some music on or whatever. It'll probably be on by now, but I will catch you guys in a few. But I'm just gonna do this throughout the whole entire head. I'm going to leave most of this in so you guys can see, and I will speed it up slightly just because, again, I didn't want to bore you guys to death with a really long video. However, that is the technique that I'm using. So we're just going to do this throughout the whole entire head. All right, so now we're getting towards the top, and I will say doing color is a labor of love. It does take some science, it takes patience, it takes a lot of practice. I've been coloring hair for over 10 years now. It's literally my most booked service. I love just coming up with different color combinations, different toners, and I love custom mixing my colors just because a lot of times, some people will be like, what color is this? Can I get in the store? And me personally, I just love the fact that you can kind of flex, especially as a licensed hairstylist, not knocking anybody who's not licensed, but when you have that extra element of knowledge, it just adds to like the fun and the creativity. So me personally, whenever somebody's like, what color is this? Like, for example, let's say they went to me get the hair color and they want to go to the store. You can't buy this hair color in the store unless you're licensed. But even still, when I mix it with the toners and everything, the formula is just what makes the hair color really stand out and stand apart. So even though a lot of my colors sometimes may look similar, sometimes I'll tweak the formulas just a little bit so that way everybody has their own custom color. And you guys know I've been doing this for years, so I do a lot of hair color, but pretty much whenever I do colors, I try to tweak the formula, whether I'm using a little bit less of this, a little bit more of this, a splash of that, just because I like to customize everything based off the client. Other things that I factor in is their skin tone. You want to make sure they don't look washed out. If they want something that's more warm versus cool, meaning that warm is more yellow, more golden, cool is more like that icy color, that like Gwen Stefani, that white Elsa type of hair, then you just do it based off what the client wants. And I just like customizing colors and telling my clients like, hey, do you trust me? And Jada, she was so nervous at first, but when I tell you, by the time we got done foiling, even before I finished toning her, she was like, I love this color, like you really know what you're doing. And it does take some time. I want to say her service from start to finish, the color, waiting for it to process, the toner, and the silk press took me about 3.5 hours, which isn't bad. The longest part is waiting for the color to take and to change. And then as you're doing the color, you just want to make sure that you are removing the foils in the order that you put them in. So typically, if I were to do an all overhead color, I apply color really fast so I can get away with, or even you can get away with, rinsing it all out at the same time. What I like to do with foils is I like to pull them out in the order that I put them in. So you'll see me pull from the back first, and then I'll leave the front foils in just so they have time to process. The reason why I do this is because, like I mentioned, it took me about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes to put all these foils in. So for example, if I'm putting this last foil in now, and then I go ahead and pull it back and then just pull everything out, this last foil will have only sat for about 5 to 10 minutes, whereas I need to give that the same amount of time. So you'll see me, once the back, I check it, it looks good, everything is all processed, I'll pull those foils, and then I just look at the timestamps for my video, and I'll say, for example, okay, I put my first foil in at 10 o'clock, I put my last foil in at 11:10. So I know I pulled my back foils at 11:10, and then I'll give the front foils until 12:10 to process, or somewhere in that time frame, just so that way everything processed for the same amount of time and we get the most even color possible. What happens if you pull too prematurely, the back will be brighter. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm struggling, but the back will be brighter and the front will be darker, and you don't want to have like an ombre unless it's intentional. But if you're doing a multi-dimensional color such as this, you want to make sure that everything is cohesive and you don't have to go back in and redo the whole entire top because you've rinsed it out too quickly. So again, you'll see me pulling the back foils and I'm leaving the front and the sides in because I want to give everything the exact same amount of time to process. Okay, so now we have that last foil in, and I'm gonna hit the roots for last. Jada was like, oh my God, this looks so cool. I'm like, yeah, girl. And she was like, you did that so fast. So what I went ahead and did was pulled some of the back foils that I used with the lightener. I'm just going ahead and pulling some of that color off. The reason why I'm doing this is so that way the color doesn't bleed into the bleached parts of hair, because sometimes if you leave that color on and it's sitting there and it's all laying on top of each other, it could also start to like blend in like that. You don't want to do all that work just to have all the bleach spots turn brown. That's gonna be crazy. So I usually use my bleach blenders by Frame Art, which are like these fluffy gloves that you can use to pull the color off. However, I didn't have those on me, so I'm just using my regular gloves. And what I'm doing is I have a trash can next to me. I'm just putting all the excess color that I'm pulling off into either a color bowl or a trash can, and then I'm just pulling out everything in the order that I put them in. So again, doing the whole entire back first, then I did the left side of the head, then the right. So I'm just going to pull everything out in the exact order that I put it in and allow everything time to process. If you need to, I like to record a lot of videos, so it's easy for me to know exactly when I put the last foil in, because again, it'll say my video ended at 11:10, I started at 10 o'clock, and then I know at 12:10 is to pull the front foils. If not, it's good to have a timer or set a timer on your phone just so that way you know. I've even seen some hairstylists where they add the time on the first foil and then the time on the last foil, and then they'll just go based off of that. So I think that's cool as well. But me, I'm not a mathematician, so I just like to kind of use my timestamps for my video, add an hour to that, and keep it moving. So already you can kind of see how the colors blend in. Now, a lot of people get scared at this point and they're like, oh my God, what's going on? But I promise you guys, just trust the process. It'll be so worth it. So now I'm going in with that same exact color mixture I used for the brown, which is the 5.8 CH, and I'm just going in and applying that to the roots. Now, this does not have to sit for an hour and 10 minutes. I repeat, the root does not have to sit as long as the rest of the hair. The reason why we let the rest of the hair sit as long as it did is because we want it to lift. She has a virgin hair, really, really dark, so we want it to be that nice chocolate brown. However, with that same exact formula, if you're going to apply to the roots, one, we're not going to use foils because that'll make it go from a 30 to a 40 volume, and we don't want to do that. But also the heat from the scalp is automatically going to raise it to a 40 volume. So if I were to put this same exact formula that I used on the rest of the hair on the roots, what's going to happen is you're going to have hot roots. And then if you add foils to that, you're going to have even like hotter roots. So it'll be like a light brassy or a really bright brown at the root and then dark brown all over. And you don't want that. You don't want like those ghost roots. So what we're going to do, I'm going to use the same mixture. Again, I'm using the 5.8 CH with the 30 volume that you guys saw me mix in the beginning. I'm applying that all over to her roots, but I'm only going to let this sit for maybe 30 minutes, if that, because the heat from the scalp is going to turn it to a 40 volume. It's going to lift. If I were to let this sit for an hour and 10 minutes, it's going to over process because of the heat from her scalp, and then she's going to end up with hot roots again. So that's why I'm doing this mixture, so it can lift. And by the time the front is done, the back and everything is catching up and it's nice and melted. And then once I pull the foils in the front, I'm actually doing the whole entire head with the roots now. I'm going to hit the back first just because that's what I put in first. And the front at this point is almost done. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this all over. Once I'm done that, I'm going to pull all of the foils and you guys will see how it looks before I tone it. And then I will get into the fun part, which is my toner formula. Let me log into my computer now to get that for you guys. And I never know what formula I'm going to use until I do the color. I literally never know. Sometimes I write it down about what I think I should use, but based off of how her hair lifts, as you guys can see, it's pretty yellow. She's about a level 7/8. So she has a little bit of that brassiness, which is like that yellowy gold undertone. And we don't want to go for like a yellow. We want to go for a caramel. So here you just see me pulling out the rest of the foils. And then I am going to use her toner formula. Now, I will say at this point, it was getting late and I was tired, so I didn't show me mixing the toner, but I'm going to give you guys the formula right now. So make sure to listen up because I promise you, if you ask me in the comments, I'm not going to respond to it because the information is in the video and I'll drop it in the description box also. But the toner formula I'm using is the Shades EQ. I'm going to be mixing 6NW, 1.5 ounces of that. I'm also going to be mixing 9NW, a half ounce, and then 9P, just a little splash. I'm talking a little dot in there. The reason why I'm going to use this toner formula is broken down here. So 6NW, the NW series in the shade EQ has a gold undertone. Remember, we want to go for gold, but she's already yellow. So to get rid of that yellow, to give us that true golden caramel color that she wants, I'm going to be mixing in the 9P, because the 9P cancels out that yellow and gives us that true gold color. The P has a blue violet undertone, so any pieces that are kind of orange / yellow, the blue violet is going to cancel it out and make it neutral. The 6NW mixed with the 9NW is going to give me about a 7.5 NW, which is the level that I wanted to tone her at. So I know that might sound really confusing, but that's why I mixed all three, because I wanted to get this gorgeous caramel shade and I did not want it to be yellow. So now I'm just going to go in and press her out. You guys already know the drill. I'm not going to post the whole thing because why am I going to do that? It's just going to take forever. And hubby just got home. Yay. So I'm going to go ahead and finish pressing her out. You guys can see how the color looks throughout. I am going to give her a nice hair trim. And then once we are done, I'm going to go ahead and just curl her. Again, I'm not going to put the whole press or the whole trim because I feel like at this point, you guys have seen that in this color. This video was really just for the color. I don't know why I'm struggling, y'all. Y'all know how I do. I'm not going to do this voiceover again. I'm tired. But y'all get what I'm trying to say. This video was mostly for the color and not for like the press and everything. But if you guys want to see press tutorials, I have tons of those on my page, and I am using my own custom flat irons. So we're just going to go ahead and curl her up. Once I'm done, I'm going to spray her with the Kenra medium hold spray. It smells amazing, gives you long lasting curls without making the hair stiff. Again, that's linked on my Amazon. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them. I'm just going to finish curling her and then we'll come back for the final thoughts. But what should we name this? Jada said that we should name it Snickers. I named it Caramel Kisses because I like the chocolate with like the caramel, but she was like, this color reminds me of a Snickers, and she said it even came out better than her inspo. And I love when the color comes out better than what they want. Like, to me, that's just my whole entire thing. Now, before I get off, I do want to mention I'm in an all black room now, so the color without my ring light looks really dark, and towards the end my ring light died on me. I think my charger is broken. It has like a short in it, so I tried my best to get the end result with the light, but it just was not giving what it needs to give. But thankfully we got enough of the video with the ring light so that way you can see, and then I will show you guys how it looks towards the end. Lastly, I want to know if you guys are hairstylists, where you guys are located. Drop your information down below. Drop what you specialize in and your Instagrams. I'm actually going to be going on here and lurking on some of y'all pages, giving some of you guys follow backs. I just want to show some more love to my community. So that spray that you guys just saw is the Kenra spray. And then I'm just going to run my comb through. And this is pretty much the end result. So I'm going to skedaddle because it's the day before Thanksgiving, baby. And I'm trying to have some fun with my family. But I love you guys down. Thank you for rocking out with me, being patient and supportive. I will drop all the info in the comments, or not comments, in the description, and I will catch you guys later. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season spending with friends and family, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye guys.